Hey, look, we're on the internet. Oh, wait, you can't see it. We've had a discussion about this.
Oh, all right. I'm not making weird noises on the internet.
Yep. I feel like, so we need to get better about doing this. I'm going to do it right away. Hi, guys. Welcome to Clinically Inane. We are a nerdy podcast based out of Seattle, Washington. I'm Curtis Chandler. This is Boyd.
No, it isn't.
Today it is.
Okay.
And we talk about whatever basically comes to our mind. We also do a lot of movie reviews. This week we'll be talking about Midsommar, which I saw and Boyd didn't.
Yep.
And Spider-Man, Far From Home, which we both saw.
Wait, we did?
I hope so. God, we were in a movie theater yesterday. If you want to see us live, as we record this every week, it's on twitch.tv/clinicallyinane. And if you want to listen to the audio podcast, you can catch it on any podcatcher
What if
that
they want
you
to
use.
see us dead?
They have to wait.
Okay.
You can catch the actual podcast itself if you're an audio person on any podcatcher. So iTunes, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, all that stuff.
Podcatcher.
Yeah, that's what they're called.
It sounds like you're playing like baseball with beans or something.
Right? Yeah. And outside of that, if you're not able to catch it on the Twitch stream, since we're not quite to affiliate status yet, we don't get to save the videos on here, so you can catch it on YouTube as well if you want to watch the live stream after it's been taken off of Twitch later on.
Why are we uploading to YouTube? Why not RedTube?
I could upload to RedTube. But or you can just head on over to the website, which is clinically.inane.us.
All right.
And I think that's everything. I think that covers pretty much everything.
Website, live,
Website,
dead,
Twitch,
audio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? So there's a comedian named Hampton Yount, who a lot of people might know from he plays Crow T Robot on the new Mystery Science Theater 3000 on Netflix.
Okay.
And he, for his latest stand-up album that he put out, his comedy album that he put out, he uploaded like a trailer to like, it was like X Hamster and Pornhub and all the like the porn sites.
Yep.
He didn't put it on YouTube at all.
I like it.
Yeah, you could only, like, he put it on Twitter too, but you could only get it on, really get like the full quality thing on one of the porn sites.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. Personally, I thought it was hilarious.
Quite.
We're on the heels of 4th of July here in the States.
Yeah.
If-
Well, technically we're on the heels of 4th of July everywhere.
Yeah.
We're on the heels of Independence Day in the United States.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
And Canada.
Canada
2 days
Day
before.
Yeah, Canada Day. Was it 2 days? It was the first. It's the first.
Is it the first or the second?
It's the first.
I don't know. It's Canada. It doesn't really matter.
You be nice.
I know we have multiple listeners in Canada.
We also love our Canadian friends dearly.
Yeah, you say that.
I mean, I like Will and Lar a lot.
That's the right answer.
Summer's never going to watch this. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
I can throw him under the bus all I want, and everyone else would encourage it.
Yeah.
So, but also we love Joanna Gaskell, who's up in Vancouver. We love her to death. She is the best, and she's Canadian. So
All right.
we have some friends who are American living in Canada. They don't count.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. That's not the same. But it was nice to. I don't know about you, but I enjoyed having kind of a chill Independence Day this year.
I mean, even the more I know I was torn, I was debating between sitting at home and drinking and going downtown and drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like going downtown and drinking was. It sounded like such a pain in the ass, and I didn't want to deal with it.
That's fair. I mean, a lot of years we've just sat at the Ram and drank buckets of alcohol.
Yeah, well, I mean, I still think the best thing that we did was when we went to the Ram.
Yeah.
A couple years ago. For those who don't know, the Ram is basically like kind of a. Was it the Ram? No, it's the Rock.
Oh, it was the Rock.
The Rock.
Yeah, it's
It
the
was
Rock
the Rock.
drinking buckets of alcohol. It's a
It's a
music themed sports bar.
It's a pizza bar.
Okay. Pizza bar.
That's what they are. They're a rock and roll music themed pizza sports bar
Yep.
thing. They're a chain.
Yeah.
And they're okay.
Horrible place for first dates.
Yeah, not a good place for first dates.
I've had a few first dates there. I've never had a second date with anyone who I had a first date at the Rock with.
Yeah, they're just not a good place for first dates in general. But they have these literal buckets of alcohol, which are in like the children's toy buckets that they use to do
Sandcastle buckets.
Sandcastle buckets, yeah. And so technically the cutoff is 2.
But if they like you might get more.
Yeah, or if like in our case where we were there on 4th of July a couple years ago, we posted up for like 4 hours, and I think we had like 3 or 4 between us.
Well, no, we've had a couple. We went to Target for a little while.
And then we came back and had a couple more. Yeah, that's what it was. And I drunkenly at Target bought Magic cards, even though I don't play Magic.
Yeah.
I just wanted to open the cards.
See what came up.
Yeah, well, like, do you know that like new card feeling, that new card smell?
Yeah. It's different than new car smell.
Yes.
It's also different than new cart smell.
Yes. What? But like when you open a booster pack of cards, like there's something fun about it, even if you don't play the game.
Nude car smell.
That's true too. But they so we did that, and then we went back and had a couple more, and then we sobered up over the course of like 4 more hours.
Yeah.
Got coffee, water, just kind of hung out, fucked around a bit.
Yeah.
And then we realized that we could watch the fireworks.
All the high ones anyway.
All the ones that we wanted to see from the parking lot.
Did we do it in the parking lot or the parking garage?
We were in the parking lot. We were in the Fry's parking lot.
Yeah, right.
In the Fry's parking lot in Renton. And we stood in the back of your truck and watched them.
Yep.
And then, because notoriously, like, we've gone to the park before.
And there's only one way in and out of the park.
There's not only one way in and out of the park. They just funnel everyone through one direction to try and do crowd control. And last time we did that, it took us an hour and a half to get back to our car when it's a 20-minute walk. Yeah. Like, it was brutal. And so we were like, well, fuck that. We watched the fireworks. The fireworks ended. We literally jumped out of the back of Boyd's car, I jumped into my car, you jumped into yours. And we went home. Yeah. And I think we were home by like 10:30 ish, which is not bad. That was also the night that I was driving home, and for the first time ever at my apartment complex, they were lighting off like fireworks directly in the surrounding area and in the complex, which is super illegal. Yeah. Super illegal. But like I was driving up, you remember you used to have to drive up that hill to get up there? Yeah. From the highway. Going up the hill from the highway, it looked like there was some sort of attack going on because there were just explosions everywhere.
I think my neighborhood was the same way that year, because there was one year I drove around, it was like driving through Vietnam almost.
Yeah. And that was normally my cat doesn't give 2 fucks about fireworks. Yeah. Like he sleeps through them, doesn't care. That was the first year he was genuinely like freaked out by the fireworks. Yeah. And that's because they were literally lighting them off like in the parking lot of our complex, which was, first of all, there are cars surrounding it. Like, so it wasn't safe in general. Secondly, it was hot, and so it was super dry. Yeah. And so if any sparks would have fallen into the wrong spot.
Like the golf course?
Or like, our roofs.
Yeah. Your shake roofs?
Yeah. They weren't shake, thankfully.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just, it was one of those things where it's, the older I get, the more I'm like, more disenchanted with the idea of doing fireworks.
See, I never grew up with fireworks.
Oh, I did. So.
I grew up in a desert during a drought. We didn't even play with sparklers in the 4th of July as a kid.
Technically, fireworks were always illegal wherever I was. We still had them.
Like, we never did fireworks as a kid. We always went to the big show, but we were usually at Chelan, just took the boat over to Manson where the big show was at. Mm-hmm. We never did them at the cabin because we were living in a kindling box. Yeah. We never stayed home because there wasn't fireworks there, and it was also a kindling box. Yeah. My dad would buy them in July and save them for January sometimes. Yeah. Because when it snowed, it didn't matter.
No. My growing up, my dad did not care.
We were on a lake, so we periodically would launch them up in the air or under the little ice or.
Yeah. We like in my neighborhood, people just did not care.
Yeah.
They just didn't care. But so I grew up with fireworks, and I don't know, they're losing their like
sparkle.
Yeah, joie de vivre is what I was gonna say.
Don't have quite the bang for you anymore.
Yeah, don't have quite
They have fizzled.
Don't quite set it off for me anymore. You know,
your love for them has fizzled.
Yeah. It's just kind of it burned out and faded away.
A buddy of ours, though, was working on the crew for the Brooklyn Bridge show this year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Eric.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I saw pictures. I saw some videos of that, and it looked like it was a good thing. Eric was the one who I worked with. We did fireworks together over in college.
Yeah, I did fireworks in Wenatchee, like professional.
Yeah, I did.
Well, should put professional in air quotes.
I did professional. I actually did professional ones with him.
They were technically a professional crew. They just weren't always professional.
Oh yeah, no one ever is.
They're also the ones who taught me about like ghost bombs and.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with the ghost bomb. That's terrifying, by the way.
It is.
We were. I'd see in my crew. We just learned that we light the fireworks. Like if we have to hand light them.
Yeah.
If we're not doing
electric.
That we light it with road flares.
Yeah. So we did the same.
Yeah.
Because it guarantees a light.
It guarantees a light, and you don't have to sit there and go tsk, 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 and like wait for the flame to go out.
Yeah.
It's going.
Yep. We used a lot of road flares. We did the electrical stuff too, and like we did all the baseball games in Wenatchee and whatnot.
I did a couple Cheney High School shows.
But we also did like the big apple blossom one where we're on a sandbank in the edge of the river, and it's just everything's buried in the sandbank. Because you got to bury them when they get big. You got to bury them in sand.
Yeah,
the sand is already there.
Yeah, and it just kind of.
It's a little bit louder than that.
Yeah, yes. On a larger scale, I just didn't feel like making the big noise.
But there's nothing quite like doing like sitting through a fireworks show, literally right below it.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. It's a little terrifying, honestly. Which I wasn't super uncomfortable with it because I'd been lighting off mortars since I was a kid. It's just when it got to like the 3 or 4 inch mortars that it was a little bit.
15 years or so ago. So Chelan, they do them on a barge.
Yes,
and
those are electric.
Yeah, a decade, 15 years ago, they had a misfire on the barge.
I remember this. They all went off at the same time, right? And everyone had to bail.
Yeah, no one got injured. They just all jumped off the boat.
Yeah. Yeah, because it just kind of went all at the same time.
What it was is one of them fired instead of launching.
Yeah.
And just triggered everything else on the boat.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's when you bail.
So
I mean,
like a 6-inch mortar going off at ground level instead of hundreds of feet in the air.
Were you with us when we lit off the mortar without putting it in a mortar? Like in,
I don't think
when we lit off the shell without putting it in the mortar.
But I don't think I was with you guys.
It was in Maple Valley on one of the bridges.
No, I didn't do a lot. I didn't do Maple Valley stuff with you. I wasn't cool enough.
I think you were busy or something like that.
I was probably in Tacoma.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went out and lit yeah, because you were invited. I remember you being invited. You just couldn't go for some reason.
Yeah, who knows?
But we basically, it got lit and tossed into the middle of a bridge.
Yeah.
And then it exploded in the middle of the bridge.
Yep.
And I did the as it went, as one went by my face.
Okay. Back in the day we did the mortar without the thing, but it was the big launchy kind.
Yeah.
So they basically lit it, threw it down a hill, and everyone took a little bit of shelter.
Yeah.
And it just launched whatever direction it wanted. And
yeah, this one technically was one of those ones, except it didn't launch. It just exploded.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting.
Are you sure we can't do gas bombs for 4th of July or the ghost bombs?
Yes, we are not doing ghost bombs. For those who are unaware, our resident criminal, Boyd, will explain what a ghost bomb is.
So I learned this one back the day from Wenatchee. Basically, you take racing fluid.
Yes.
Which is a very high octane gasoline.
Yes.
And for just a basic ghost bomb, you put in a bucket, ideally add a fuse, and light it.
Yeah.
And it basically it burns so quick and hot, it essentially makes a clear fireball. Mm-hmm. Like you get a light, you get a shockwave. there's not really color in it.
You get a shockwave and heat and a boom.
Yeah. Depending, then you can start adding different powders, different chemicals to it, and you'll get different colors. So you can make purple, orange, red, green, blue, whatever. That's level 2.
Blurple.
Basically. Because the different chemicals burn different...
burn different colors.
They're controlled what colors they are.
Yeah.
So, level 3 is you put a little bit in, you add your color. Then you carefully layer another level over it.
With another color?
Oh, either that or clear.
Okay.
Because if you do another color, you get like this swirl of color in your fireball.
Yeah.
If you do one layer color to one layer clear, you get this like... You get the full fireball, but only part of it is colored. Which is really interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Not something I ever want to take part in, ever.
It's fun.
See, the dumbest things that we did was sparkler bombs.
The one I want to try, but we never got around to, was doing a smaller bucket, so it contains it in the middle.
Yeah.
Inside a bigger bucket. So see if you get like how the color would swirl differently.
Yeah, we just did sparkler bombs.
Yeah.
Back when you could get the sparklers to do sparkler bombs with the actual magnesium ones.
Yep.
Where we went out to the Indian reservation, made them to the reservations and picked up sparklers out there because they didn't sell the fun ones at the ones outside Safeway, you know?
Yeah.
And we'd spend $300-$400 on them, you know?
Shit.
Small
ones.
Well, no, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of sparklers. That's the thing.
I just forget how expensive they are.
Yeah. And the thing is we could make 3 or 4 with that.
Yeah.
So it's approximately $100 per sparkler bomb.
The ghost bombs were cheaper than that.
Yeah. We would go out and like one of my friends, I didn't do this. I advised against this. Lit off one in the cul-de-sac in his neighborhood. It was fucking terrifying.
I'm sure.
It was absolutely terrifying. It was early days of internet video, so like for a while there was a video of it on the internet. It's gone now,
thankfully.
But like I think it was pre-YouTube.
Yeah.
So, but like it was like, was it 240p kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not good.
When I was still in elementary school, I got in trouble because I would take, like, my dad buy the little snappers for us to play with.
Yeah.
And I would take those and I would unwind them and just start dumping them into a napkin.
Yeah, and make a giant snapper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was probably in 3rd or 4th grade when I got in trouble for that one.
Yeah, just
More of a boom at that point.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing about the popper ones. It doesn't just go all of at once. It kind of works its way through the collection.
God, it's terrifying.
So it's like a boom and a whoosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of dumb things that people have done in the summer, I saw Midsommar this week. I'll talk about it briefly. That way we can jump into Spider-Man, which you actually saw as well. And we discussed Midsommar a little bit, partly because we're not going to reveal any spoilers, but
unlike the articles I read,
that was the thing I was going to say. We talked about stuff a little bit in depth off the podcast because you'd read articles that
like for full spoilers,
were full
photos included.
Yeah. Admittedly, you're never going to see the movie. Probably
no.
It's not your jam.
Not my cup of tea.
No. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it a lot, actually. It was Ari Aster, the same person who made, same writer-director of Hereditary, worked on this one. And it's fucking freaky. And like we talked about, and I said the biggest reason you probably wouldn't enjoy it is because we talked about this with It.
Yeah.
The things that scare you aren't the supernatural clown. It's the bully.
Like... I'm not even scared. That's what makes me more uncomfortable. Like, you were definitely more uncomfortable by the clown. I was more uncomfortable by the bully.
Yeah. And this one is like 100% that type of scary. Like, of the kids being, not the kids, the real life being the scary part. There's no supernatural to it. Like, if it looks like if you watch the trailer and it looks like there's supernatural stuff going on, there's not.
It's misdirection.
Yeah. It's a lot of misdirection.
So take your children.
Yeah, take your kids. I did notice it was in the theater next to Toy Story.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but think, what if they got the projectors mixed up?
What if a parent walked in the wrong one?
Right? Yeah, like and they were 10 minutes apart in screening times.
Yeah.
Like it's distinctly possible. That would have been hilarious. I mean, it's like they before one of the.
So you told me all about the first scene. Like, what if a parent like walked into the theater thinking they're getting the previews with their kids, and walked into the first scene of Hereditary,
or not Hereditary, Midsommar.
Midsommar.
Yeah. The opening scene of Midsommar was one that like I immediately knew watching that scene that one of our roommate Ashley would.
One of our roommates. Wait, how many do we have?
Our roommate Ashley would totally tap out of like instantly. Wouldn't even think about it. She'd be done.
Yeah.
And I explained it to you because like we talked about it a little bit, and you were like, I could probably sit through it, but I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And the thing is he does a really good job of telling a brutal story and telling a story that is legitimately scary and messed up and weird without being, I guess the best way to put it is gratuitous.
See, that's the thing I've also realized is movies like that where I know I'm going to be really uncomfortable and not really enjoy them.
Yeah.
I don't get to sit there and just be uncomfortable. My brain disconnects and I become bored.
Yeah. No, there was never, I was never bored at any one moment in this because it was, he does a really good job at making you feel a grand sense of unease. Like something is wrong. Something is always wrong.
Yeah.
In Hereditary, like Hereditary is a bit of a slower burn than this one is.
Okay.
It's
obviously look at the opening scene of this one.
Yeah. Well, the opening scene, here's the thing, is it goes through the opening scene of this one, and then that kind of slows down for a little bit. It's an initial trauma kind of thing.
Okay.
But it's fucking brutal, man. It's hard to explain it. It's hard to go through it without spoiling it. It's scary. It's freaky. It's like it makes you deeply uncomfortable. But in the same vein, there are moments of it where I understand it. It's deeply cathartic too. And sorry,
I just thought of what happened to the boyfriend. I'm like, deeply cathartic. That's
yeah, actually, kind of. Yeah,
for the right people. Yeah,
yeah,
not necessarily for him.
No, but it's deeply cathartic and it's deeply like it very much follows the main character and her dealing with grief. Essentially, and it's not always the best way of dealing with grief, but it's a
few people have the best way of dealing with grief.
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of a weird thing of like both it's horrific things happening, but at the same time it's super helpful. It's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great horror movie.
Nice.
It's not a.
Don't take your children.
No, don't take your kids. Don't
you
take
the term horror in the title. You shouldn't take your children.
Yeah. Also,
don't take your roommates.
No, don't go if you have problems with depictions of suicide. I'm just gonna say, like that's a thing.
Yeah.
And some people have a specific, like especially people who have lost loved ones to suicide.
When we first started seeing trailers, I was possibly interested in this one. I guess I became less interested as I realized it was less supernatural.
Yeah. And it was more real.
Yeah.
I became more interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I really dug it a lot. It was good. But yeah, again, if you have problems with suicide, seeing suicide depicted on screen,
don't do this.
Don't do this one. If you like good like thriller horror movies, I recommend it.
There we go.
That's kind of where
it's
at.
A little bit of blood.
And don't mind a little bit of blood. Actually, yeah, there's not a ton of blood in this.
There's definitely some bloody scenes.
There's some bloody scenes, but it's not.
We've gotten over gore porn.
Yeah, it's not.
Thankfully,
it's not gore porn. Yeah, it's not hostile. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's also not. Well, I mean, it's also not stylized blood like Tarantino movies or like Overlord was stylized.
Yeah, or even John Wick.
Yeah. It's very real, I guess is the best way to put it.
Sorry, I was watching a Bond movie yesterday, and just got reminded that there's a scene where he's dancing with a woman, and he's realized he's about to get shot, so he turns her into the bullet because she's part of the bad guys.
Yeah.
But like you hear the gunshot, and you don't see the blood until he moves his fingers slightly apart, and the blood is seeping. Like the blood capsule was in his hand.
It was in his hand.
So when you think about it,
He got shot between the fingers.
basically, or got shot through the hand and just healed instantly.
Obviously.
Yeah, but it was just a wonderfully I understand it for the time period, but it's also like a really bad effect.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's great. I love all of those old like. My favorite one is still the thrown weapon or the arrow trick, which is you don't actually have to show it flying through the air.
Yeah,
You do a shot of whoever it is firing it or throwing it or miming throwing it or firing it. And then you do a quick pan like with the weapon, and then you quick pan into whatever is getting hit. It's two separate shots. You just cut.
Someone just cut too.
Yeah, no.
You have a shot and the hit.
Yeah. But the quick pan, what it does is it gives the idea that there's movement.
Yeah.
It's far more effective. It's actually an old kung fu movie trick. And as it hits them and they like, it's already whatever it is, the arrow, the knife, the whatever is getting thrown or shot is already attached to whoever it is hitting.
Yeah.
And they just and like they just react like they're getting hit.
I mean, some have used the old magician's trick of like, how do you shoot an arrow through a person? So the old magician's trick of shooting an arrow through a person is you'll have a little like red like banner tied to the front of the arrow or flag, so it shows where people can easily track where it's going.
Yeah.
And what it actually is the flag is tied to a small string that goes through a pipe around the person,
Yeah.
through your target, and has a weight on the other side.
Yeah.
So when you fire, I think a lot of them just fire the arrow off center.
Yeah.
So it just goes off stage. But you see the red flag go through the person, it hits the wall, and another arrow pops out of the wall. And so it looks like the arrow went through the person.
Yeah. In reality.
It went right, the flag went around them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart. Tricksy. Very tricksy.
I've used similar tricks in plays before.
Yeah.
Like the knife trick in
Big Love.
Big Love
Yeah.
was all the same knife idea as the arrow.
Yeah, they popped out of the wall. Like the guy who was throwing it would palm it.
Yeah.
And then a handle would out of the wall. I remember that. Yeah. Which if you looked closely at the wall beforehand, you could see the slots where they came out.
Well,
but
we had tape over them.
you could still see
You
them.
could still tell, but no one's looking at sets that close.
No, exactly.
It's it's got to look good from 30 feet on a galloping horse.
Yeah, exactly.
Which my high school teacher always taught me and somehow caught on in Eastern too.
Yeah. Well, who was it? Costuming teacher said it.
Yeah.
That's that. So it must be a
Theater
thing. Yeah.
Which is weird because I think they're both UW alumni.
That might be a UW thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that you can't tell if they're real from 30 feet away on a galloping horse, Spider-Man. Trust me, it makes sense.
There was one scene where I was uncomfortable with the CGs in that movie, but it actually makes sense for the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was are you talking about that scene in the second act?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's the same one we're thinking.
Yep. The one before the train.
During that scene, there's one moment where the CG gets a little rough.
Yeah.
But it works really well for that scene.
Yeah. It makes complete sense.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's, so Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes.
What did you think?
I really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it too.
So I was entertained. Did you see Tom Holland's thing about Far From Home versus Homecoming?
No.
So he's British.
Yes.
So for him, Homecoming was Far From Home. And Far From Home has been a Homecoming.
Yeah, because he got to go back to London.
Yeah.
But it's I do appreciate, one of the biggest things I appreciate is right up front from the start of the movie, they address how the world is reacting to everyone coming back.
To the unblipping?
Yeah. They're calling it the blip. Like what we called the snap. The snap was what took everyone away. And when everyone came back 5 years later after Endgame, they're calling it the blip.
Yep.
Which means that everyone who was all of Tom Holland's, all of Peter's friends, and Peter himself were all part of that group.
And Aunt May.
And Aunt May was too. Yeah.
They confirmed that one because people were like, "Fuck, that'd be traumatic."
Yeah. Aunt May was one as well.
Yeah.
Which, admittedly, it's half the fucking people in the universe.
Yeah.
Like, yes, that's gonna.
Well, no, there was one kid in the group who had not blipped.
Yeah, and it was a kid when they left.
Yeah.
And now wasn't.
Yep.
Yeah, it made sense.
It did.
And I appreciated that.
There was also one scene where get one of the.
No, I know what you're talking about. We're not going to spoil jokes. Let's not spoil
okay.
jokes.
That's such a good little joke, though.
Oh no, it was a great joke. But I did appreciate that they addressed that like right up front. There was the question of how are they going to deal with that in Spider-Man? Which, by the way, this one is the official end of Phase 4.
Yeah.
Endgame was not the end of Phase 4.
Well, and I think that also creates an interesting thing because the blip makes an easy way to write characters in or write characters out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, like if they lived in San Francisco, kind of thing.
Yeah.
They would be going to school with
Ant-Man's daughter.
Ant-Man's daughter. Yeah. With Scott's daughter.
Lang.
I'm spacing on her name.
Cassie.
Cassie. That's what it is. Yeah. They'd be going to school with Cassie. She'd be the same age.
Well, you also point out when we saw Infinity War or Endgame, it was a great way to get rid of the child actress, too.
Yeah. Great way to get rid of child actors. No, I really appreciated one of the things that they did so well in this is they balanced humor with teenagers going through teen things.
Yeah.
Like I remember I'm not that far. I'm
a decade.
A decade removed, no, a little over a decade, 12 years removed from being a teenager. I still vividly remember having like moments like what they're doing they're having in there.
Similar.
Yeah.
It was different for me. You said to go court the girl down at her parents' house.
You had to bring a dowry.
Yeah.
You had to prove your holdings.
Yeah. You had courting candles and all that.
Yeah. What's it called? The board, the swaddling board.
Yeah.
In between or whatever it's called, in between on the bed if you slept in the same bed, so that you wouldn't have impure thoughts with each other. I forgot about those until season 2 of Deadwood. There's one, but
the courting candles were my favorite.
Yeah.
Basically, they're massive candles that you had this much time to court the girl.
Yeah.
And the way the father could say it's time for you to go home was just snuff the candle. Like, time to go home for the day.
Yep. All right, time for you to go.
And you had to decide whether or not you wanted to ask for her hand in marriage.
By the end of the candle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them were like 250, 300 hours.
Yeah.
If that long.
Yeah.
Some were shorter. So you might have a week's worth of time to decide if you want to marry a girl.
I mean, yeah. Would it be 250 hours continuously? Like
Total.
So like if you were with her, they would light it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a little bit longer than a week then.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, a month.
A week is 144 hours. So you have 2 weeks of time with the girl.
If you spend all of that time with her.
Yeah.
Like if they never snuff out the candle.
Think about people who decide marriage that quickly. Very few.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. But anyway, getting back to they did a good job of having the teenager dynamic, I thought.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things though is that while he's still quippy, Spider-Man is very much, well, let's put it this way. Spider-Man is not. Peter is the straight man.
Yeah.
To a lot of his friends.
Yeah.
Ned is goofy. Like MJ is very like dark and weird.
Yeah, with a certain deadpan.
Yeah. And so and everyone else is kind of like
Peter's got some awkward humor.
Yeah.
Unintentional stuff.
Yeah. He's much quippier as Spider-Man than he is as Peter, and I think Tom Holland does such a good job with the character too. One of the things that they
even in both, he's a bit more physical comedy with Peter.
Yes. I feel like they did one of the things that I think they've done really well with this is creating ensembles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like that Flash is a douchebag rich kid.
Yeah.
He's not the jock, he's the douchey rich kid. Mm-hmm. That's who he is.
Which fits for modern times.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that, I like that Ned is, a nerdy kid but he has like aspirations of being not a nerd kind of thing. Even though he 100% is. Mm-hmm. I really
he has some great lines in this one though.
Oh god, he has some great lines. And I really love that they've kept Happy around as a major player. Especially now that they so integrated Spider-Man and Iron Man.
Yeah.
That now that Tony's gone,
it makes sense.
Spoilers. Oops. If you haven't seen fucking Endgame yet, come on.
You haven't been on the internet.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the trailer for this movie.
Yeah. But now that Tony's gone, Happy has kind of stepped in to fill the shoes. And you remember initially, like, Happy was super annoyed that he had to babysit Peter.
Yeah.
And now he's like, he answers the phone no matter what kind of thing.
Oh, there's side benefits.
Yeah, side benefits. But even still, outside of that, Happy realized that it would have been disrespectful to Tony.
Yeah.
I
mean, I think for a lot of him, he also recognizes in a lot of ways this is Tony's kid.
Yeah.
This is Tony's other kid.
Yeah, this is Tony's other kid.
Yeah.
Very much so. I felt like they did a good job of establishing early on that Peter is still doesn't know how to deal with Tony not being around.
Yeah.
And for the most part, the fact that there aren't any Avengers around.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, of the 5 originals.
Or there's 6 originals.
6 originals.
3 are dead.
3 are dead.
Or, well, 2 are dead. 1 is real fucking old.
3 are gone.
Yeah, 3 are gone.
They're no longer superheroing.
1 is retired.
1 is in space.
And
1 has found balance.
Yeah. And is permanently disabled, too.
Yeah.
Like
he's more scientist than Hulk at this point.
Yeah, exactly. The Avengers as they stood are no longer a thing.
Yeah, and the other heroes kind of have their spaces.
Yeah. And the fact that they...
Wait, are there only 4 people on, like, of the various Avengers on Earth currently?
So Black Panther,
Ant-Man, Spider-Man,
yeah,
Hawkeye,
yeah, and Hawkeye's retired.
Yeah. No, Hulk's on Earth.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, because Captain Marvel's off in space somewhere.
Yeah. Thor went with the
Guardians. Yeah, we don't know where he is. It's
ultimately acknowledged in this movie that he's off-world.
Yeah, he's off-world. And one of the jokes in that scene when he's asking where people are is a lot funnier too when you know the end, get through the end credits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like when you get through the post-credit scene, that there's a joke when Peter's asking where everyone is that's a lot funnier. But one of the biggest things I have to say that worked so well in this is Mysterio.
Oh, really did.
Oh my God. Like one of the biggest things I'm thankful for about this newer Spider-Man iteration is that they haven't felt the need to go back to the Goblin again.
Yeah.
Like that they're reaching out towards these other bad guys.
Yeah.
Like, or these other Spider-Man villains who exist in the universe. And bringing them in a new and interesting way. Like Homecoming was Vulture.
Yeah.
And a tip towards the Scorpion.
Yeah.
In this, it's fucking Mysterio. Like, I'm just telling you,
if you know
guys,
the story arc,
if you know the story arc of Mysterio, it's fucking Mysterio. Come on.
But it's the how.
It's the how that makes
why.
Yeah, and that it's a new take on the character, but at the same, it's a new yet classic take on the character
that works really well in this universe.
Yeah, it works really, really well for what they're doing, and Jake Gyllenhaal was fantastic.
Yeah,
I did love how much he looked like he was a perfect looking Mysterio.
Yeah,
like really, truly perfect looking Mysterio. It was so great. I absolutely loved that. Everything about it worked really well.
It did.
I loved how they created this character that would be like Peter's looking for somebody to take Tony's place. And it's very clear he is desperate for that because if he doesn't find somebody to take Tony's place, he has to. He feels like he has to step up into that role.
He doesn't feel ready to.
He feels like he's not ready to do that. Yeah, and I think that is part of what makes this work so well.
I mean, that has always been one of the rough things about Spider-Man is most of the other heroes, they start in their 20s or 30s.
Yeah,
they have a childhood.
He started when he was 14, 15, depending on the story.
One or two of them are indoctrinated at birth.
Yeah.
So he's having to sacrifice his childhood in many ways to do this.
And also, he's the type of character that was always kind of the big thing is that Spider-Man needed to have a secret identity because he was so neighborhood level.
Yeah,
It's that like he couldn't be Steve Rogers, Captain America out there on the front line. He can't be Tony Stark, who's nigh untouchable.
Yeah,
he has to be. He's still trying to be a kid who goes to school and wants to hang out with his friends and wants to keep his family safe.
Yeah,
and the biggest time and time again, the biggest weakness that Spider-Man has is that he cares about and loves his family and friends, and that if they figure out his secret identity, those people are now vulnerable.
Yeah, and that comes. I mean, that's stuff that comes up in the Spider-Man stuff. That's stuff, and even this movie and choosing how he fights his battles and what he focuses on them.
Yeah, exactly. You pointed out if you've seen the trailer, he has a couple new suits.
There's an evolution to the suits.
You pointed out correctly. There's an evolution to the suits, and it's we won't tell you what it is because it'd be spoilery.
Yeah,
but the suits
reflect what he feels is expected of Spider-Man.
Yeah, the suits evolve as he evolves as a character.
Yeah,
I guess is the best way to put it.
As he evolves, and it's really what he feels is expected of Spider-Man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did find it interesting that one scene from the trailer. There's one scene from the trailer is not in the movie at all.
Which one?
The one where he's talking to the cops.
Oh yeah,
it's not in the movie at all. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it to show up. Never happened.
Yep.
But again, they do that. They shoot the scene.
They shoot extra scenes, and
no, it's not even that they shoot extra scenes. They shot the scene and it ended up on the cutting room floor. But it works well for a trailer.
Well, Marvel has admitted to in the past shooting extra scenes just to.
They did that for the Avengers movies to kind of throw people off.
Yeah.
This feels like one where they shot it and then they realized that they didn't need the extras. Like it was extra. It was.
Yes, it's entertaining for the character, but it's not necessary for the storyline.
It was extra exposition.
It might end up in a Blu-ray cut, but not a theater cut.
Yeah, exactly. But I felt the way that they had Peter playing with Aunt May and with Happy and with his friends and his entire friend group.
Yeah.
Was so fantastic. And one of the again commenting on the ensemble of the group on the trip, the teachers were fucking hilarious Martin Starr is hysterically funny in it.
Was he the history teacher or the science teacher?
He's the one with the beard, the white dude.
Okay.
It's Martin Starr and JB Smoove.
Yeah.
And I know JB Smoove from being like a comedian and like 90s movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's the science teacher.
Which there's a line. Well, from a scientific standpoint.
From a scientific. God, that's fucking great. Well, and like if you notice that's a running joke throughout the movie. That it's so fantastic. There's just one running joke with him that's great. And Martin Starr's character is just so pathetic. It's just fantastic. Which is so different from like other roles that we're actually we're used to Martin Starr being a nerd, but we're used to him kind of being, with the exception of Freaks and Geeks, in modern day, we're kind of used to him being like a cool nerd, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people know him from Silicon Valley, in which he is like the ultra, like he's a fucking nerd, but he's like a satanic, like badass, doesn't give a shit, wants to make, like, gives everyone else shit, nerd. And in this, he is just like bumbling and doofy and just kind of pathetic.
I have to say, this movie, without getting spoilers, has one amazing deep cut casting choice.
Yeah, it does. I know exactly what deep cut casting.
Yes.
And the way they do it too, I wish we could talk about it.
Yeah, because it's brilliant.
And it's done so perfectly. And I'm so glad that they decided to go back to the well on that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, there's if you would have tried to do something different, it wouldn't have worked.
No.
Like, it was so perfect.
The motivation is what truly makes this. And
yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
And it's the moment where they bring this character in. Mm-hmm. It's the first time we see the character.
I think we're thinking the same thing, but yeah.
Yeah. It's technically in the post-credit scene. The mid-credit scene.
Oh, no, there's an earlier deep casting I really liked, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll talk after.
Okay, I'm talking about the one in the mid-credit scene.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there is a mid-credit and a post-credit scene,
yeah.
So stay till the end. And trust me, if you stay for the one until the end, it will answer a lot of questions as to what you're, like, it'll answer a lot of questions and open up a lot of questions.
There's also
too.
a mid-movie reference to the end scene that I caught.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, overall, like the way that they built the relationship of Peter with Mysterio, and the way that they're very clearly still trying to go through the growing pains of being a teenager who's a superhero.
Yeah.
And also having an like in typical Peter Parker fashion, he's really bad at keeping his secret identity secret.
Yeah.
Like we all know that Ned and May and Happy all know who he is.
Well, there was the joke in Endgame and Infinity War of, "Hi, I'm Spider-Man. Peter Parker. I mean Spider-Man."
Yeah. Hi, my name's Peter. Doctor Strange. Oh, we're using our made up names.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I'm Spider-Man.
And that goes, like, even in battle scenes, he's trying to introduce himself to other heroes.
He's on Valkyrie's Pegasus.
Yeah.
It's like, "Hi, my name's Peter." It's so great. No, again, I think Tom Holland does the only thing that this Spider-Man is still very much like early stages growing up. He's not nearly as quippy as Spider-Man is, and that's
Spider-Man.
But that's well, yes and no. Like Spider-Man is supposed to be kind of quippy, but I think he's still dealing with.
I think he's less quippy in this movie than the previous ones, but it also makes sense because he's got a lot more identity crisis going on.
Yeah, he's also got a lot more trauma that he's dealing with in this too, in general. Like dealing with Tony's death is like a legitimately difficult thing.
Yeah.
I do have to say the opening scene where it's the first movie post Endgame, and the opening scene is this slideshow.
Yes.
And it's so amazing.
It's spectacular.
It is so amazing. And one of the things that they've done really well in this is capturing when they have those high school moments, like that it's very fucking high school.
Oh yeah.
Like the fucking you'll notice it in the first one too, in Homecoming too, when they're doing like the news report, like Betty Brant is doing the news report, and you can see the aliasing of the shitty green screen around the outside of her. It's a subtle thing,
but it works really
but
well.
it's so important to this because it is very clearly like, I remember being that video production person who had that shitty aliasing around the green screen. And like the only thing that they're missing from that is a little bit of like green light on their face because they don't know how to properly reflect it yet.
I mean, maybe we'll get a third one. They'll have someone who actually wears the same color greening some of their clothes.
Yeah. It's a subtle touch. And that's kind of what I've appreciated about this throughout, is that they have those subtle touches of things that are like, it's a ridiculous thing, but it's something that they put the thought into to be like,
it takes a lot of thought to make it that bad.
Yeah, honestly, it does. It takes a lot of thought to think about, like, it takes a lot of thought and preparation and where, like, do you remember making this mistake in high school film?
Yeah.
Or do you remember having this problem?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And even by modern standards, that's still a fucking problem. No, I felt like the way that they've handled the post blip
it's been really well done.
Was really well done. The way that they handled having high schoolers be like technically different but same ages.
Yeah.
Like they were gone for 5 years.
Yeah.
And now they're back.
And they don't carry the trauma of those 5 years.
No, yeah.
They carry different traumas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, now they come back and like one of the things that they show is them coming back and like because they disappeared during like a band thing.
Yeah.
And he comes back during the middle of a basketball game and all the band shows back up during the middle in the same spot.
Which raises serious questions about...
Oh, yeah, no, tons of people reappeared in the midair.
Yeah.
And fucking fell to their death.
Tony just slaughtered them all.
Bruce, but
Bruce, yeah. Which, I mean... I don't know how much you can account for things like that in a snap. I mean, can you... Does the snap account for things like that?
Well, I mean, also think about like how many of those people in those planes were pilots, so those planes went down anyway.
Yeah.
So
and and the post credit scene in Infinity War deals with that. The first thing that like when you watch what the fuck is his name?
Fury
vanish.
Yeah.
They pull over because they watch a helicopter fly into a building.
Yeah, exactly.
And cars are crashing and
Yeah. I was appreciative to get more Fury and Hill in this movie too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Maria Hill's been underused.
Absolutely.
And I love Kobe Smulders as an actor. I'm very excited to see her in Stumptown. You know the comic Stumptown?
I know the comic Stumptown. I didn't know they're
making a show and she's the lead.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Yeah. I'm quite excited to see that. But overall, I feel like Spider-Man Far From Home was a really, really, first of all, was a great Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And secondly, was a great MCU movie.
Yeah.
Of world building for the entirety of the movie.
Leading up to what phase 5 is going to be.
Yeah. And it really...
Because right now we know there's 2 movies being made.
Yeah.
We have a dozen or so dates.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
No titles, no...
Nothing else. And...
We don't know what movies go with what dates or...
Nope.
Yeah.
All we know is Black Panther 2 is happening. It hasn't started shooting yet.
Yeah.
And that they're currently filming Black Widow.
Yep.
Which is a prequel?
Kind of has to be at this point.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how they're doing this.
They're training the new one.
Yeah.
Oh, that would...
Again, Scarlett Johansson.
The latest clone.
Yeah, the latest clone.
That'd be a fucked up revelation about that
we
character.
do know they're doing a third Guardians of the Galaxy, and that will start filming next year.
But we don't know about Individual Strange or Ant-Man's or...
Nope. we don't know. Like Paul Rudd has said, he hopes there's another Ant-Man.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yep.
There's probably going to be another Doctor Strange.
Yep.
Actually, know what? There is. The director has confirmed that he's coming back to do a Doctor Strange. But again, we don't know when.
Yeah, and we don't know what other movie's going to be in there. We don't know what new characters are getting in our movies.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's interesting. We're hitting this. 2019 is an interesting year because we're hitting the end of so many things.
Yeah.
Before they move on to another chapter.
Or summer just ending.
So Game of Thrones ended.
Yeah.
There was Endgame, and now technically Spider-Man Far From Home is the
Wrap up
for Phase 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's for us to move forward. And then Star Wars is ending.
The third trilogy's ending.
Third trilogy's ending, and they've said that they don't know if they're going to be bringing these characters back or
what context or
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We just know that it's ending.
They might splinter the universe more. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
There are going to be more Star Wars movies, but we don't know. We know that this is the end of the Skywalker saga.
Yes.
That's what we know.
And we don't know if some of those characters come back in other movies. We don't know if movies are going earlier, later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's
we're going to have an entire movie just dedicated to the Ewoks.
Yeah.
No, nothing in English, just all in Ewokian.
Yup, yup.
Yeah.
Yup, yup.
No subtitles.
Yeah. But it is an interesting thing. There, like all of these things are kind of coming to an end this year because a lot of them like have been building for a decade, you know?
Yeah.
And they need to end so they can move on to the next step, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
What that next step, we don't know.
Yeah, because
I'm also not going to waste my time
speculating
because there's no fucking point.
Well, I think in some ways speculating just going to, I mean, for a lot of internet speculating just leads to disappointment.
100%.
Because you speculate about so much, you get this idea, and then it doesn't go that way, and you're pissy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone wildly speculated about The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And then, for some people, you and myself included, we saw it and we're like, we had our ideas of what it could be.
Yeah.
But then when it's not that, we're like, oh, we're pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I want new stories. I want new things.
Yeah. As opposed to the people who saw that and went, that's not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Why didn't they make the movie I saw?
Or I wanted.
That I saw in my brain.
Yeah.
It's because they made their own fucking movie, dude. Mm-hmm. You want to make your movie, make it.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of an interesting, it's just an interesting thing where we're at this.
Oh, they did try to make their own.
Yeah.
They fundraised for it and everything.
Yeah, they're fundraising to remake The Last Jedi the right way.
Whatever happened with that?
I think the guy took the money in her hand.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Like the border wall guy.
Yeah, like the border wall guy. God, so fucking stupid.
So there's what it says on Indiegogo they're trying to fundraise for, and then they have their own secret numbers that are, this is how much I need to go live in an extradition-free country.
Yeah, exactly. This is how much I need to drop in a Swiss bank account.
Yeah.
Or a bank account in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just been an interesting. It's just interesting that it's all kind of coming to a head, and we're going to go through a little while here where we're not getting anything particularly new from those stories.
Yeah,
and it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out moving forward.
Yeah,
it'll definitely force them to be creative too, which I like.
I mean, that's the one thing. Is like the Marvel. It's almost. There's a lot of openness to it.
Yes.
There's so many characters to pull from. There's so many ideas to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they've said also they're making some of the cosmic hero stories.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they have, again, a lot to play with.
Yeah, there's a lot in there.
Marvel has a little bit of, history
backlog.
to pull from.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah. Overall, I'm very happy with where Far From Home went. We know we're getting one more Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, that's the contract.
That's the contract. He used his three. It was three
joint films, 3 independents.
3 independent.
There might be other ones still.
Yeah, but
if Sony likes money,
he was in Civil War, 2 Avengers movies, and now he's done 2 Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
And so there's one more Spider-Man.
Yeah. And
So.
the deal might keep going.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
They might decide that they want to move away from it, though.
Yeah.
But
And you could wrap. I mean, they could wrap up Spider-Man at the end of that. And
yeah, they could. They absolutely could. All that being said, we're at the end of our time.
Are we?
Yep.
All right.
So that's it for this week.
All right.
Bye, kids.
Bye, kids.